Okay, I'm getting ready to fill the bottom of this door, and I mean, I don't really need to fill it. I don't know. I guess if you were looking at this car to buy it, you might stick your head under the door and have a look. But this car isn't for sale. But there is, because I slightly overlapped this, like maybe a 1/16 of an inch or so. There's a bit of a step here, and so if I hold the straight edge, most of this was what I'd say caved in. So you can see a little bit of light on the bottom half where the patch panel is, just a sliver, and it was like that. There's a bit more there. It was like that most of the way along until it got to about there, I think, and then it started to, the weld seam was high, so the knife was rocking on the seam. So I just went ahead and tapped this down. It's what guys call the cave it and pave it approach. But in an area like this, I think it's pretty acceptable to use that method. And so anyways, I'm going to use some fiberglass filler on this. I always like to put a skim of fiberglass filler over any welding, because I mean, it's welded, but there's a possibility that it could be some tiny pinholes through the weld zone, and fiberglass is waterproof. You put Bondo on there and water comes in there, it's going to soak into the Bondo and cause some problems with rust. So this is a better option. And then of course I will seal it on this side as well. Probably just put a skim of seam sealer over top of the weld area and then paint it really good. So anyways, getting ready to do that. So I'm just going to put just a little strip of filler across here. I probably won't do anything more than the fiberglass. It'll sand out nice enough to put primer on for this area. If I was doing this on an exterior panel of the car, like on the door skin, I would put Bondo over top of the fiberglass filler. So anyways, gonna get that done. Another thing I should mention is I never used that long strand fiberglass filler. I mean, I have used it in the past when I was young and dumb and learning and troweling it on lower quarter panels and stuff and over riveted seams and whatnot. But it's just horrible, messy stuff. It goes on so coarse that you go and sand it and it's full of voids, and it just causes all kinds of problems. So yeah, I never use it now. I don't have any need to use it really. I think a lot of guys use that stuff. They stuff it in rust holes, and it's just kind of gross stuff. But anyway, so I just use the fine short strand, they call it, and it works great. So, and then another thing I do here, once I got all this stuff applied to the bottom of this door, see, I'll take this plastic spreader and I hold my fingers on the outside of it like this, like that, and then put my thumb in the middle and just kind of bend it so it takes a curve, and then run it along here, and so the middle will be up higher, so it'll leave more material right on top of that weld seam. So I don't really want to sand, like have this as the edge of the filler. I want to have it overlapping onto here and feathered out on here. I don't want I don't want it to come along and stop there, because a lot of times what can happen is it'll crack there and start coming off. So I want to have it bridged over the weld area. So I'll put a good, I'll bend this, and just, you know, it'll be, you know, about a 1/16 of an inch maybe over top of that weld seam. As you can see, it's a nice sunny day, but it is a bit cool. So what I like to do is, once I got the stuff all smeared on, I just run the heat gun over it a little bit. Don't want to hold it in one spot for too long, because this stuff will just bubble right off. Just pass it over, put a little heat in it, and help it to kick off a little nicer. I find that this stuff, and well, the same with a lot of polyester products, they stay sticky on the surface, and I think that's it's for a reason. So when it's chemically, the resin reacts with oxygen, I think, and it stays sticky. So when you go to put the next coat of whatever you're putting on, if it's polyester, it'll react with that uncured layer and molecularly bond to it. I used to think you had to scrape all that uncured stuff off, and because it wouldn't stick, but that's not really the case. The next layer of filler will, the catalyst in the next layer of filler will react with that sticky layer, and it'll cure it, so it's nicely stuck together. It's the same when you're doing a fiberglass layup. There's two types of resin you can get. One's what we call wax resin, and basically what it is it's a resin that has a wax infused into it, and when you lay it up, the wax floats to the surface, and it creates a barrier to the atmosphere, and so the surface cures just as much as the rest of it does. And then there's unwaxed resin. So if you're doing a layup with fiberglass that has multiple layers, you want to use the unwaxed stuff so that you get that molecular bonding. Well, I said I wasn't going to do it, but this door bottom needs a second coat, as you can see. You can see I'm not quite sanding down to the I mean, I'm bottomed out here, and I'm bottomed out here, but not here. See, I'm not sanding that yet. So I got to put a second coat on here, so I'm going to use some Bondo, so Featherite. Just going to skim that whole thing, and a little easier to sand too. And another thing, you know, see all this dust here? You know, I could take a blower, like air hose, blow all that stuff off there, and then blow it all over my shop. I don't like doing that. Makes a mess. So, gonna turn on the vacuum cleaner. Suck it all up. A lot nicer than blowing the stuff all over the shop. And then when I'm done that, I just go around with a little brush and just get any dust off that didn't come off the vacuum cleaner. If I had two hands, I'd be chasing myself with the vacuum cleaner doing this. Just brush right in front of the pickup on the vacuum. Anyways, you get the idea. Keeps your shot nice, little less dusty. You gotta clean it up anyways eventually, so you might as well clean it up as you go.